The judge's gavel echoed like thunder, silencing the whispers that rippled across the gallery. Jalen's palms were slick, his suit slightly oversized, borrowed from a cousin because he couldn't afford his own. The words, "wasn't supposed to win," hung in the air like a shadow over his head. 19 years old, no law degree, just a kid from the South Side who had never even set foot in a courtroom until a month ago. Yet here he was, defending a man everyone else had already given up on. The defendant, Mr. Carter, a weary janitor from Jalen's neighborhood, had been accused of theft at the very school where he worked. He was soft-spoken, with tired eyes that carried the weight of too many years of being overlooked. No lawyer wanted the case. The pay was nothing, the outcome was obvious, and the community's trust in the system was already fractured. But Jalen couldn't ignore it. Carter had been the one who let him study in the school library after hours, sneaking him sandwiches when Jalen couldn't afford dinner. "Don't let the world tell you what you can't do, son," Carter used to say. Those words had stuck. So when Jalen saw Carter's story buried in the back of a local paper, something inside him lit up. He studied the evidence on his own, late nights under a flickering bulb in his small apartment. He read law articles, watched trial videos, even shadowed free workshops online. People called it reckless, naive, impossible. But Jalen called it payback. Now, standing before the jury, his voice trembled at first, but it grew steadier with every word. He pointed out the missing security footage, the lack of fingerprints, and the testimony of a single witness who had reason to lie. He spoke not like a lawyer, but like someone who cared, someone who knew the man in the chair beside him wasn't a criminal but a friend. The courtroom shifted. Jurors leaned forward. Even the judge softened, watching this young man argue with more fire than some professionals. Then came the twist no one expected. Just as the prosecution wrapped up, a school security guard quietly stood up from the back row. He walked forward, face pale, and admitted he'd left the storage room unlocked that night. He couldn't keep silent anymore. He knew Carter hadn't stolen anything. Gasps filled the room. Jalen froze for a heartbeat, hardly believing it. The truth was finally breaking through. When the verdict was read, not guilty, Mr. Carter broke down in tears, his hands shaking as he pulled Jalen into a hug. The gallery erupted, not in anger or disbelief, but in applause. People weren't just cheering for Carter's freedom. They were cheering for the courage of a 19-year-old who dared to try when no one else would. And in that moment, Jalen realized something bigger. Sometimes, winning isn't about degrees or titles. It's about heart, about showing up for someone when the world expects you to fail.